YouTube script. 2025 Toyota GT Super vs 2025 Lamborghini Yellow. 0 to 008. Opening tease. Visual. Split sweep. Low. Prowling 2025 Toyota GT Super glides left. A vivid 2025 Lamborghini in bright yellow arcs from the right. Quick macro flashes. DRL slice. Carbon weave. Paint flake. Wheel center lock spin. SFX. Cinematic whoosh plus low mechanical thump. Vogue tight. Punchy, two extremes of performance design. Razor simplicity versus sculpted aggression. Today we break down the exterior and the color stories that make them roar. 009 to 030. Setup, hero shots. Visual. 3 to 4 second drone arc, 30 to 40 m, pulling back to show both cars in relation. GT Super low and long, Lamborghini wide and perched. On-screen overlay. Model names plus quick spec disclaimers, prototype, rumored specs where applicable. VO. The GT Super is Toyota's GR Halo. Long hood proportions, Katana DRL language, carbon first detailing. The Lamborghini is unabashed presence, extreme surfacing, wide hips, and a yellow finish that becomes the protagonist. Let's start with silhouette and proportions. Lens. 35mm for context, 85mm for compressed hero shots. 031 to 140, proportion and silhouette. Visual. GT Super. Side push, low slider, track 1-1.5 meters, slow rack from wheel to A-pillar. Lamborghini. 3/4 front 45 degrees low angle, emphasize rear haunch. VO. The GT Super reads as sculpted restraint. Long hood, compact cockpit, short overhangs and a planted rear, proportion that promises balance. Toyota uses negative space, razor top line, tight greenhouse, and a low beltline that telegraphs speed even when stationary. By contrast, Lamborghini is celebration by exaggeration. The roof sits lower, the fenders flare aggressively, and the roof-to-hip transition is a dramatic sculptural fold. It's a car that wants to be seen from every angle, every crease catches light and throws it back. On-screen callouts. GT, long hood, compact cockpit. Lambo, wide hips, sculpted folds. B-roll. Silhouette backlit golden hour passes, slow shutter panning for motion blur. 141 to 240, front fascia and light signatures. Visual. Close macro on GT Super DRL, razor slice moving into grille detail, Lamborghini hexagonal intakes and Y-shaped DRLs. Slow reveal with focus pull. VO. Front-end philosophy. Toyota keeps the face purposeful, thin, knife-like DRLs, a functional air intake hierarchy, and active aero cues tucked into a clean fascia. The GT Super's lighting reads as a precision instrument. Lamborghini's front is theatrical. Layered intakes, pronounced splitters and Y-shaped daytime signatures that scream identity at any distance. The lights are part ornament, part thermal management, they hand off function to form. Overlay. Animated airflow vectors over intakes. Text. Function versus drama. 241 to 340. Surfaces, materials and aeronotes. Visual. Macro passes on carbon weave, exposed fasteners, vents, and active wing actuators. GT Super. Exposed carbon fiber lips, hidden venting. Lamborghini. Exposed louvers, hexagonal mesh, exposed mechanical hardware. VO. Look closer. Toyota leans into carbon honesty, visible plies, satin clearcoat over weave, purposeful cutouts. Every panel reads engineered. Lamborghini layers finishes. Gloss carbon, contrasting matte inserts, exposed mechanical vents that suggest theatrical heat extraction. Both use active aero, but they present it differently. Toyota's is surgical, Lamborghini's is performance theater. Lens. 100mm macro for texture, 50mm for context. 341 to 5 o'clock. Wheels, stance and details. Visual. Slow rotation of wheel, brake caliper reveal, center lock close-up. Shot. 1/60th S panning to capture wheel blur. VO. Wheels and stance sell the attitude. GT Super wheels tuck under muscular arches with a focus on rotational mass and brake cooling. Expect staggered sizing, a center lock option, and purposeful offsets for efficient aero. Lamborghini, meanwhile, exaggerates wheel to arch fitment, wheels pushed wide, tire buttress visible, and aero channels integrated behind spokes. The result? Aggressiveness at a glance. On-screen overlay. Wheels, center lock, staggered sizing. Tires, low profile performance. 501 to 620. Color story. Focus. Lamborghini yellow. Visual. Color swatch board. Flat sample, metallic sample, pearlescent sample, matte sample. Cut to Lambo in bright yellow under different lighting, golden hour, studio cool white, wet pavement. Vo. Now the color story. Lamborghini's yellow isn't just a pigment, it's an attitude. Known broadly as giallo in the Lamborghini palette, the yellow options range from pure, saturated solids to metallic and pearlescent treatments that reveal depth at angle changes. In direct sun, a solid yellow reads hyper-saturated. With metallic flake, the paint catches micro highlights and gives glittering depth. Pearlescent finishes shift slightly with viewing angle, warmer under sunset, cooler under studio white. Matte yellow mutes reflections for a stealthier, more tactile feel. Each finish reshapes perceived volume. Glossy amplifies surfacing, matte flattens and accentuates shape. B-roll. Slow motion raindrop pass to show water bead behavior on different clearcoats. On-screen. Yellow finishes. Solid, metallic, pearlescent, matte. 621 to 740. Color story. GT Super Palette. Visual. Toyota color board. Deep muted reds, stratosphere-like blues, satin graphite, exposed carbon visible with clearcoat finishes. GT Super in 3 settings. Renaissance red, stratosphere blue-esque, matte graphite. Vo. Toyota's GT Super uses color to accent structure rather than dominate it. The typical palette favors deep heritage reds, cool metallic blues, and satin graphite finishes that allow carbon elements to read as texture. Two-tone roofs or exposed carbon hoods are intentional. Color highlights the silhouette while material contrasts point to performance intent. On-screen swatch names. Renaissance red, stratosphere blue, satin graphite, exposed carbon. 741 to 830. How finishes affect filming and branding. Visual. Split screen showing same camera pass over glossy yellow Lambo versus satin GT Super. Demonstrate reflections, highlight roll, and color pop. Vo. For filmmakers and owners. Glossy yellow demands careful exposure. Highlights blow quickly but yield spectacular reflections. Use polarizers in daylight to control glare. Satin finishes photograph consistently, showing contour without overwhelming reflections. For branding. Yellow is instant. It becomes your thumbnail's hook. The GT Super's restrained palette is cinematic and lends itself to narrative storytelling about lineage and engineering. Camera notes. Use polarizer for glossy shots, golden hour for depth, 50mm for color macro passes. 831 to 920. Final comparison and visual narrative. Visual. Montage. GT Super. Low, refined passes. Lamborghini. Dramatic wheel spin, exhaust crackle, audio design. Freeze frame on each car with color swatch overlay. Vo. At the end of the day, these two approaches are complementary study in how design and color define character. Toyota crafts restraint and precision. Color is the supporting actor. Lamborghini uses color as the crown jewel. Yellow becomes identity, almost a language. Both choices are deliberate, and both tell stories before the engine even starts. 921 to 950. Outro call to action. Visual. Slow drone pull away. Logo animation. On-screen lower third. Subscribe, like, comment your favorite color. Vo. Which side are you on? The surgical simplicity of the GT Super or the unapologetic drama of Lamborghini yellow? Drop it in the comments. Smash like if you learned something new, and subscribe for deep color and design dives every week. SFX. Whoosh out plus final engine note. Production and post notes on-screen card. Vo pacing. Conversational, slightly breathy on adjectives. Music. Low rhythmic pulse under design sections, crescendo on Lamborghini reveals. On-screen overlays. Color swatches, material callouts, lens tags. Equipment suggestions. Drone Mavic 3, similar, 50mm and 85mm primes, 24 to 70 zoom for dynamic moves, macro 100mm for texture. Disclaimers. Some specs and color names are subject to OEM updates. Treat prototype details as indicative. End.